Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, the Wolverine, and welcome to Terror Time Wednesday. Now, I'm sorry. I want to apologize because there was not no Alter Friday video last week. Because, let me explain. Thursday, I forgot what I did Thursday, because you know your mind sometimes goes, and yeah, my mind goes. You know what I'm talking about? Of course I don't. Anyway, I forgot what I was doing Thursday. Friday, because I said I was going to upload Friday. I was going to record Friday. But here's the thing. Here's what happened. I went with my mom over my mom's boyfriend house. We watched Malignant. Good ass movie. I recommend it. It's really good. In my personal perspective, I recommend it. We went around there, drunk a few times. I got a little intoxicated. I came home, got in the bed. As soon as I said, well, at first I watched a little TV. As soon as I said, oh shoot, Archer Friday, damn, I can't leave them hanging. As soon as I would get out my bed, come record, you know how the whole intoxication drains the body, it takes over? That's what it did. My body said, nope, ain't no Archer Friday tonight. Lay your head down. So I laid back down, watched TV. Next thing you know, I was knocked out. Calling cows, sheep, toads, cockroaches, spiders, snakes, whatever. I was calling them back. Cats, dogs, shit. But I had to hurry up because I'm going with my mom to my personal bowling ball driller. I'm going to get two of my bowling balls drilled. I reload Terror Time. I mean, not drilled, but fixed. I record Terror Time Wednesdays on Tuesdays because Wednesdays I'm in a bowling league and I have to be there by 6. And we don't stop until 9:30. It depends on who we bowl. And I'll be tired. I'll be bowling tired, y'all. Anyway, today, I know some of you thinking, Wolverine, it's daytime. Why are you recording in the daytime on Terror Time Wednesday? It's supposed to be spooky. This is my series. I'm the one who made Terror Time Wednesday. Just like I made Archer. Both of them are my series. And if you think you got a problem with that, Wolverine, show them what's up. Wolverine, okay. If you guys really think you gonna tell me that, why don't you go eat a banana and shut? I'm sorry, I went too far with that Wolverine thing. What the fuck is wrong with me? Yeah, anyway. Get it together, Wolverine. Get it together. The story we are going to be reacting to is 3 true cemetery horror stories to give you goosebumps. And it is by none other than the GOAT himself, Mr. Nightmare. How you doing, Mr. Nightmare? Please do not copy strike me. This is your creation. Okay? I'm just reacting to it. You have the video, the narration, everything. The slideshows in the video, everything. I'm just reacting to it. I love your channel. I love your other channel, Llama Arts. You dope, man. You're dope. Anyway, if you don't want to hear my mouth, blah, 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 blabber, 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 the original video will be down below in the description. So, X-Men, is you ready? The Wolverine is always ready. Let's go. Cemetery.
When I was 19, my friend Sean, who was a big goofball, came over to chill in our basement as he often would during the summer. I remember he had a Coke bottle in his hand and I was eating Wendy's when he said we should check out that creepy little cemetery across town. It was the most random idea ever, and I even told him that. Still, we had no school the next day, and I knew exactly which cemetery he was talking about.
No! You lost your marbles! No! We can't be friends no more, dog. No. You could go. Why don't you skedaddle? No, I'm not going. Not me. No. Not a cemetery at night. No. Not me. Nope.
I don't know if one should even call it a regular cemetery. It's just a small plot of land with maybe 100 tombstones at most. The tombstone's very archaic looking, and any time we'd pass, there would be no signs of anyone having come to visit within the last decade.
Dang.
The site probably dated back centuries, and it had this super creepy vibe to it because it was closed off by a gothic metal fence, and it was surrounded by woods on two sides, the road on one, and some old abandoned building on the other. Everything about it just gave scary vibes. It took a little persuading, but Sean managed to get me to want to check it out too. Ironically, it was a very cloudy, wettish kind of day, I guess conveniently adding to the mood. Sean pulled up his Honda to the side of the road. I told him to pull up more so it wasn't obvious.
We ain't friends no more.
This was a low-traffic road, so it would look kind of suspicious. He pulled up a few hundred feet down the road, and we got out and cut through the woods so that any potential passing traffic wouldn't see us entering the little cemetery. Hopping the fence in the woods was easy. It was maybe a 3 or 4 foot fence. Sean kind of took the lead on this since it was mainly his venture. He led us through the eerie little plot of land, and we looked at the archaic tombstones. They all seemed to be from the 19th century. The writing on some of them was illegible at that point. I know it sounds super dumb and cliche, but I couldn't help but feel like I was being watched constantly. I started looking around the surrounding woods. I told Sean how creepy this was. I know, he replied. Still, with the feeling of being watched, I looked at the abandoned building next to the cemetery, at one of the windows. For a brief moment, I knew I saw someone standing at the window, even through the fog, smudge, and dirt on the glass. But they casually either ducked or walked away from the window. I told Sean we were being watched by someone in that building, and he turned to look at it as well.
Why
He went to
you
look for
go?
the entrance to it. I told him don't. I said we should just leave before we get in trouble. I stayed still by the tombstone he was looking at while he walked around the building, and then he found a way in. He called me over, but I stayed put. Then I heard some loud kind of crack. So I looked in that direction, and there was this older man, probably around 55. Gray hair, had on a black raincoat, I believe he was wearing jeans, and he had a mustache, but that's all I really got of him. Then he opened his mouth and screamed, not just yelled, he screamed, "Get out." He screamed it so loud I thought I saw birds
Yes,
flying
sir.
over being startled. And just like that, I started to feel lightheaded, and suddenly everything went dark. The next thing I remember was waking up to being dragged in the woods. I freaked out, thinking I was being kidnapped. But when I turned and got up, I saw it was just Sean. Sean was freaking out about something. He told me to follow him and run back to the car, so I didn't ask questions. As we ran through the woods, I heard something close behind me, and when I turned, I realized we were being followed by someone, so I ran even faster. We got to his Honda, and he basically put it in drive before the car even had a chance to fully start. When Sean was inside that abandoned building, he found a sigil of Baphomet painted on the wood floor, which is basically the sign of Satan. Around it were a bunch of freaky dolls with buttons for eyes. He didn't get to see anything else in the building, because he heard the old man scream at me outside. He came running to find me passed out on the floor, and he saw the old man slowly walking over to me. He started to drag me away from the old man and into the woods. He actually literally picked me up and threw me over the fence to get me out.
Damn.
I quickly came back to consciousness, and that's when we ran. I had only fainted one time in my life, and it was at that moment. I don't know why I fainted, but it happening at a graveyard with some kind of satanic ritual building right next to it makes it that much stranger.
That's a true friend. Golly.
Cash App's debit card is customizable, and there's a glow-in-the-dark version, so you
These
can always
fucking...
just...
I'm sorry.
My grandpa passed away a few years ago. I was always very close with him. This past July, on his birthday, I paid him a visit at the cemetery. The cemetery he and my grandma chose to be buried at was about an hour drive from my apartment. My family lived closer, so they all went to his grave together. I had to go separately. It was a rainy, depressing day, and there's nothing worse than visiting a cemetery on a gloomy day. The gatekeeper of the gate asked for the plot number. I gave it to him and he let me in. It's a pretty big cemetery, and I'd only been there a couple other times. Not as the driver, though, so I had a hard time finding it. I didn't see many other people, if any, at the cemetery that day. I'm sure the weather had something to do with it. Eventually, I found his stone and parked my car in the grass to the side. I put some flowers down under his stone, stood there for a while with my eyes closed, and prayed. When I finished my prayer, I opened my eyes and looked up. There was an old man standing about 5 rows of graves down, but directly across from me, and he was looking right at me. I knew this man, though. It was my grandfather. But no, it couldn't be. I rubbed my eyes, and he was gone.
Your guardian angel.
Was that a spiritual moment? Or were my eyes and mind playing tricks on me? Either way, I got the chills and I had goosebumps. I was quite honestly freaked out. I got back in my car, said, "Love you, Grandpa," and drove off. I felt like I had a headache on my way home. Not sure why. I was the only car on Prospect Road, a quiet road with dense forest on either side. Commonly, there would be deer crossing here. As my car zipped down the road, I spotted someone on the side of the road coming up, which was odd. There were no sidewalks or a walking path on this road. I slowed down. It couldn't be. It looked like my grandpa again. When I realized this, my heart dropped 1,000 feet, and I swerved the car accidentally. I desperately tried to regain control and come to a stop. Luckily, my car didn't end up in a tree. Rather, just skidded out in the middle of the road until coming to a halt. I immediately looked back to where I saw him, and I saw a deer on the side of the road, looking at my car. My heart was literally racing. I was terrified. I was not well, and I needed to get home. I made sure no cars were coming and got back in my lane. I focused on the road as best I could, given what I had just seen twice.
Granddad, why are you freaking me out, though?
Not sick, but something wasn't right with my head. I went to bed early after watching an episode of my show. I woke up at like 2 in the morning to my phone ringing. It was an unknown number. My heart started racing again. Any call at this hour couldn't be good news. I accepted the call and put the phone up to my ear. There was static on the other end. Finally, I said, "Hello?" More static. But what I thought I heard next, I couldn't believe. Just briefly, for maybe half a second, I thought I heard my grandpa's voice over the static. I tried to say hello again, but I was too shook. Every part of my body was actually shaking. Then the call cut to silence and ended.
What were y'all doing? Y'all saw.
Trace the number. They couldn't. They didn't have enough data to trace it, apparently. Though I don't know if that was just bullshit or not. The events that took place that day and night were the scariest I've ever experienced. Do I think my dead grandpa was trying to contact me? I don't know, because that sounds ridiculous. You'd think if you experienced something like this, you'd be so full of emotion and
No,
joy.
it don't.
But no, it still terrifies me, and I really still don't know what to think or how to feel about it. Whether it sounds ridiculous or not, this happened, and I wonder almost every other night, was that really my grandpa on the phone?
I see it. Yo, how would y'all react if y'all saw your dead? How would y'all react if y'all saw a dead relative?
My friends and I were very stupid when we were teenagers. I was like 17 or 18 when this happened. It was the month of October, and I wanted to do something scary in the spirit of Halloween. There's a small cemetery about 10 minutes from where I live, and when I was drunk with a couple friends, I said we should sneak into it. I'll make up some names for my friends, Ryan and Mike. We were at Ryan's house. He didn't drink ever. So when I came up with the idea, he was the one to drive us to the cemetery. Mike and I were really the ones leading this. Ryan was just along for the ride. But then again, he hadn't been drinking. Ryan parked in some parking lot across the street. It was a ghost town because it was past midnight at that point. We made sure no one was around to see us as we hopped the fence into the cemetery. It wasn't exactly pitch black out, but it was slightly hard to see more than 10 feet in front of us. So we were all using our iPhone flashlights. There didn't appear to be any night security in the cemetery, so we kind of dispersed from each other. Ryan seemed to be following Mike more closely. I could still see where they were because of their flashlights. I went off a little further on my own, and I decided I'd start taking a creepy video. So I started recording with the lights still on, of course. I recorded a bunch of old headstones and the general eerie vibe of the cemetery at night. I didn't see Mike and Ryan anymore, so I started to go look for them, still recording. I looked at my phone screen and froze. There was a woman, dressed in a white gown or a dress, I want to say, with long, gray-looking hair. She was looking down at the ground. I looked up from my phone screen to look at her in person, but she was gone. I started to back away. I looked back at my phone screen, and there she was again. Only now she was looking into the camera,
Run.
rather looking at me. I looked up from the phone again and could not see her once more, so I looked back down at the screen again, and there I could see her moving closer to me.
Is this the
Started to
drunk
scream for
friend?
Mike and Ryan as I sprinted away from that spot. I couldn't see their lights anywhere, and they weren't answering my screams. I had a feeling they were going to try to scare me, so I ran back for the fence of the cemetery to hop it and get out. I made it to Ryan's car and texted the two of them saying they need to get out of the cemetery now. They met me at the car minutes later. We all sat in the car, and I showed them the video I took. They had the same horrified looks on their faces I did. Now that I was actually watching the whole video, I could see the moment the woman slowly lifted her head from looking at the ground to looking at me, and then she starts to move towards me. We could only see her moving for like a second or two before I start screaming in the video and running away. But the way she was moving, we could see no leg movement. It almost seemed as though she were floating to me. I have the
Central, only on Fox.
video saved on my old iPhone 4S, but the stupid thing won't turn on. It gets stuck at the Apple logo. I don't want to reset that phone until I can get that video off of it somehow. My friends firmly believe the woman in the video was a real, living person who also happened to be in the cemetery that night. But me, having been the one to actually find her, and only being able to see her on my phone screen, well, let's just say I was never a believer in the paranormal until that night.
What's wrong with people breaking into cemeteries and shit? Bro, why? You drunk? You wanna come on now. No racial. Non-racial. But ain't no black person gonna break in the damn cemetery, no matter how drunk we get. And in the first story, that was a true friend, how he went back and saw his friend passed out and dragged him out and put his ass over the shoulder and threw him over the gate. Wow. But not me. No. If I'm drunk, I would not go to a cemetery. Man. Anyway, so if you like this video, if you like this series, please take the Wolverine claws, smash that like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe. Also, while you're down there, hit that notification bell for your boy so you will get notified every single week. Your boy, the Wolverine, uploads. Until next episode, I love y'all. Please, God bless and stay safe. Love and peace, the Wolverine. And I will see you guys for Altar Friday. I'm not going to miss it this time. So, with that being said, the Wolverine